intended, right? I said we'll give you a taste of Roberta's. Well, the taste is going to be beefsteak tomatoes. Why not? These look amazing. You are going to get 6 plants altogether, 3 of which will be in red and 3 will be in gold. And there's a lot of differences in these versus typical tomato plants. So whether you've never grown tomatoes or you have and it was a pain, now you wait till you hear what these are going to do. And by the way, they harvest sooner. So you'll have your tomatoes sooner than probably everybody else. All right, we're going to bring in Devin Wallin. Roberta's is brought to us by the Wallin family. And it's really, truly started by their grandmother, and then it was 3, I think it was 3 guys, Kevin, Court, Eric, and then now it's their kids. And you guys are absolutely geniuses, and I'm not kidding you. Devin, you as well. I mean, I still remember when you guys first came to QVC, you looked like you were barely out of high school. And I thought, what are these kids going to know? And they knew more than I could have ever imagined knowing. And so here they are, even years later, still hanging in with us. So thank you, Devin.
Thanks, Mary Beth. Yes, and you know, something that I've been growing my entire life with my family are tomatoes. Everyone loves the flavor of a fresh, homegrown tomato. It's the #1 vegetable or fruit. Technically, it's a fruit. It's the #1 veggie to grow in the United States garden. But to grow those beefsteak tomatoes that are sumptuous and meaty and full of flavor, you always had to have a lot of space out in your garden. You know, you had to grow them right in the ground. You had to put big, huge 6-foot cages in order to allow them to produce the fruit. And that just wasn't acceptable to us. We said, everyone should be able to grow a beefsteak tomato, whether you live in a country estate or in a townhome or condo and you only have a patio garden. That's how we created this 6-piece Vegetalis Patio Beefsteak Tomato collection. This collection, you're getting 6 of the very best beefsteak tomatoes, 2 different varieties. This first one is called the Mountain Man. This is the really rich red one. And then the second one is this Golden Carolina Gold. Now, both of these are beefsteak tomatoes. And when we were creating this collection, the first thing that we had to think about, you know, that was #1 rule, was it had to be a flavorful tomato. Both of these have that rich tomato flavor like homegrown tomato should have. So that we would never skimp on flavor. That was rule #1. The second rule that we had to include on creating this collection was these had to be beefsteak tomatoes that could be grown in a container. You can grow them in a container right on your porch or patio or even in your driveway.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. And Mary Beth, these are also going to be producing their sumptuous fruit in about 40 days. Other beefsteaks, you're going to have to wait 80, 90, even 100 days in order to eat them. And then the last rule that we had to make sure of was that they had to yield a lot. Each of your 6 tomato plants is going to yield a couple dozen tomatoes. So we're talking up to 150 tomatoes from one collection, and these are beefy, like 12, 15-ounce tomatoes. That is something to talk about.
Wow. Okay, so this is the coolest because I'd never heard of these until this year when you brought them, that you can grow them in containers. Because I know we've grown the tomatoes and we've had to have this big piece of land and have the cage about 6, 7 feet high and all that jazz. And I can see a tomato up there and I can't get to it. That just drives me nuts.
Who wants to deal with that?
Exactly. So let's go back to, first of all, talk to me about the size of the container. And I'm getting 6 plants. Should I put each one in a separate container, or can I put 2 per container, or what would you recommend?
So I recommend, you know, if you're going containers, which I only grow tomatoes in containers because my patio is the closest thing to me, and I want to keep a close eye on my tomatoes, see how they're doing when they're ready and ripe for me to pick. So I like to do each plant in an 18-inch container like this. I recommend putting just a single plant in each container. That is going to allow your plant to have the most root space and you want to give it lots of good root space in order to produce the most tomatoes possible. You could definitely underplant them. You could plant some of our marigolds. These are called the superhero marigolds. We also have these on QVC.com. And these are going to act as like a natural pesticide, honestly. They keep away a lot of the bugs that can kind of wreak havoc on tomato plants. So getting a collection of those marigolds, you can underplant those right in that 18-inch container. But the thing is, these are tomatoes that anyone can grow. Yeah. If you live in like a country farm estate, or you live in a little patio garden, by simply giving these lots of sunlight, water, and our tomato fertilizer, you know, we have our specially formulated tomato fertilizer, you can expect a couple dozen large beefsteak tomatoes like this big guy from one of these 6 plants, and you're getting 6 of them. So it's amazing. Really the very best and last tomato collection that Roberta's has in store for 2022.
Okay, good to know. Well, here's the other thing, is that how do we know if we're doing a good job as it's growing? What should I be seeing on the plant?
Well, you know, tomatoes are rapid growers. That's what we love about them. They're so fast. And what you're actually starting with is a very healthy plant. You're not starting with seeds. You're not doing like this science project inside your garage waiting for them to grow. You're actually going to be looking at beautiful plants like that. That right there on the right side, that's like 40 to 50 days from the time of planting just one of your tomatoes. And look at the bounty of those beautiful Mountain Man tomatoes. The Mountain Man are these 8 to 10-inch beefsteak tomatoes. They have that perfect balance of sweetness and acidity. They're amazing just on a burger like this. Or I just cut them, put a little salt, a little pepper, maybe make a little salad with some fresh mozzarella and basil. You will be loving your summer like that. Or the way that Court likes to do it, he likes to call them just mater sandwiches. Just a tomato slice with some mayonnaise, and he loves his, I can't even remember what this bread is called, just some plain white bread.
Yeah, plain white bread, some bacon, some lettuce, some tomato, and some mayo. Hey, I got a quick question. Did you say whether we steak these or not?
You know, because these tomatoes are going to be like 8 to 10, maybe even 12 ounces, it's a good idea just to put some steaks in there because the tomatoes are heavy. Yeah. Look at one of these beautiful Carolina Gold tomatoes. These are big guys. And you know, if you're wondering, okay, you're getting gold ones and red ones, what's the difference? Yeah. They do have slightly different flavors. Yeah. I'm not enough of a master chef to describe those flavors accurately, but once you're starting to enjoy them, you will recognize that they are slightly different, but they're both absolutely phenomenal.
Devin, you'll be back, or one of your cohorts will be back with the Tread on Me pink woolly thyme plants. And those are nice because it is ground cover, and of course when it says Tread on Me,